Hey, good morning. I'm Jay Skinner, and this is Buyers and Sellers. Who remembers Burt Bacharach? If you see me walking down the street and I start to cry each time we meet, walk on by. Walk on by. We're live. Thank you, everyone, for coming. Today's a great, special day. I'm Jay Skinner, and this is Buyers and Sellers. And right here, you see the name of the guest that we're getting ready to bring in. So without any further ado, let me welcome Eli Skinner. Hello,
Hey, what's
Eli.
going on? Yo, what's happening?
So I'm so happy to have you, Eli. That just full disclosure, everyone, Eli is my son. How about
There
that?
you go.
And
He is my dad. He is my dad.
I am
My
your
real
dad.
dad.
I am your dad.
hmm
And I'm so proud of you. I've got two boys, Eli and Benjamin, and both these guys have grown up to be good young men. And so I bet Ben's out there, might be watching. And if he is, hi, Ben. Good to see you. Glad you came. I bet you he will be. Anyway, so the title to this show, I'm looking over here at my stuff, is, look at this. Here, I'm going to show this up. By the way, for those of you, if it's your first time here, a little bit of logistics. I've got a computer screen here. I got one here, got one here. I got one here that I turn upside down because I really don't want it to go off. But there's a lot of things to pay attention to, and as I'm producing this. But this is the Buyers and Sellers Talk Live show. Here we go. The other thing is, and I wanted to put this on here because Eli and I were talking. He's a very successful business person, and he can tell a little bit about himself here in a minute. But we got this comment. It's like everybody wants to control their own time, be their own boss until they wake up one day and realize their clients control their time and they are a terrible boss. And I said, or their boss is a jerk. It's like, oh no, I know that's not your problem, Eli, but
Not most mornings, at least.
Yep. So anyway, Eli, let's just talk. And I wanted everybody that's paying attention here, you know that the comments are live, and I want you to be there. So please be sure and make comments. In a minute, we're going to be doing it. If you want to react to some of the things that are being said, we're right here with you. So, Eli, start out and just tell us a little bit about yourself and your family and your business, and we'll go from there.
Sure. Yep. So, Eli Skinner, Jay's son. I've been married 19 years at this point. My wife is my biggest supporter. She's the reason the family holds together for sure. Because it's been a crazy transition over the last 3 years into self-employment and that sort of thing. So 3 kids, a dog, various other animals at times, and we enjoy life together, and it's been really good. So. I'm 39, so I've been doing church work, meaning music in church, executive pastor in church. I went to Bible college. I mean, that was my career prior to 3 years ago. So made a big transition into real estate and kind of started a brokerage, recently acquired by a national firm, which is wonderful. It's good for me, great for my agents. So excited about that. But that's kind of where I'm at, where we are.
Awesome. And we're just thinking about this being your boss thing. Talk to me a little bit about where you got that. This is your quote. It's great, and it always makes me chuckle.
Yeah.
Talk to me about that
Yeah,
and that feeling.
that thing is so real. The reason it's there is because like I did it. Like the moment I went into this real estate brokerage side of life, um, like everybody else that wants to be in business, you want to be your own boss, you want to control your time, you want to, vacation when you want to vacation, you want to whatever, right? You want to go golfing when you want to go golf, and you think it's just, and then you wake up. And then you realize that your clients control. I mean, I get it. We're all trying to fix this problem, right? But your
Hmm.
clients control your time, and you're a terrible boss. Like you were so successful in your previous job because you likely had a decent boss, right? He kept you motivated by gonna fire you if you didn't do your job. They set goals in front of you. They all these different things happen. But now we find ourselves laying in bed until 10 o'clock in the morning and not doing the things that create business, right? I'm not a big fan of judging a success by actual results, by the sale. I like judging success by doing the things that we know generate business long term, right? So, but those are the things that are hard to do if you're only having to be motivated by yourself and you wake up realizing you're a terrible boss, terrible at self motivation, that sort of thing.
Yeah. And so when you go through that kind of frustration, it's kind of like you have this revelation. Now you're your own boss, but just the end game is you build $1 million company that's doing very well and did very well over the
Sure.
last few years. How did you get through that?
Oh.
What were the things that went into your life? I mean, you might even tell us about when you were a pizza delivery guy back
Yeah,
in
yeah,
college.
no. I love that's a funny story because I always tell people if you ever lose your job or you just want to do something and feel like your own boss, even if you're not, go deliver pizza. Like I did that in college for 2 years. Like I worked at a church, went to college, got married, and delivered pizza, and I absolutely loved it because yeah, I get to pick up the pizzas I want to deliver. I could hide in the back if I didn't want to deliver them. On the road for 45 minutes, deliver the pizzas, feel like I'm in charge of the world. It was amazing. So I'm a big proponent of pizza delivery. That's
Yeah.
turned into Uber, or not Uber, I guess kind of Uber. You're delivering humans. But it's turned into a lot of things. But, for me, when I transitioned into real estate and I had that realization and the business blew up. It exploded because, in our line of work in this industry, and I think in a lot of people's industries that are probably watching, we need trust and we need trust. And I had that in spades, given my previous, working in church,
Your
tons
church
of
work.
relationships,
Yes.
right? So I had a ton of trust. People had that already. The other thing I tell people you need is, or I tell like my agents, for instance, is you need people to think you know what you're doing. You don't have to actually know what you're doing. We can train that, right? We can't train trust. We can train you to do what you need to be doing. So I had those two things because I'd been doing real estate for myself for a little while. So business blew up. I tell people I was in the red zone. But I woke up realizing that I was a terrible boss. I was terrible at doing the things that would have kept me sane over the course of those first, 12 months when I had a whole new set of pressure points that I had never experienced before. And so I went through a major mental breakdown. It's been about 2 years now. And it crushed me. It was as bad as you could ever imagine with anxiety and depression. Never experienced it in 36 years of life. My doctor said, I have no idea why in the world you took this long to break down, given the way your brain works, given your excitement level, given all the stuff that you do, your go, go, go,
Hmm.
why it took you to have, 36 years to have a mental breakdown. But I did. And that was all part and parcel to worries about the future because I'd never been in business for myself in this sort of legitimate pay the bills, buy groceries sort of way. But
Hmm.
secondly, because I was a terrible boss, not managing my time well, all of that. So that's kind of how it ultimately came to this realization that I've got to do some things to change the way I approach the day, the way I approach business, the way I approach life.
Aha. So there was kind of a bottom there. Oh, look. Hey, JR. Look at that.
Good morning.
We've got
Yep.
friends around here. JR, thanks for coming. Good to see you. Oh my gosh. Morning, Skinner. Hope you are well. Kevin Fitzgerald. Yeah, Burt Backrack. I was playing some of that. How about that? I'm glad you liked it. The Philippines is in town. Look at this. Frank Nell is watching us from the Philippines. And then, of course, Doug Wing, the former owner of Little Giant Ladder Company, and I'm proud to have you here, Doug. Doug was a guest on our show earlier this month, I
Man,
guess.
I always wanted one of those ladders.
You always wanted one of those ladders.
Are you
Yeah, they're
kidding me?
cool.
Who wouldn't?
Are they
Oh,
cool?
okay. I loved watching the show last week. He was great, but it was just like that is like my dream. Like I want to own that someday. Someday that's like people want a car. I'm gonna own a ladder.
Oh man, I mean, it's like I really have a feeling when I've seen some of the demonstrations, they're only showing you just a little bit of what they'll do. I mean, they're not
Oh,
showing you the part where you can, where like it flies out of the back of your pickup truck and you actually like a kite. Who knows
that's
what it could do?
so you have that same. That's a family thing. Then my friends I've told, oh no, it's good. It's not going anywhere, and then it ends up on the highway. Like
It's,
lots of different things have done that. And, yeah,
but I want to be on it when it does, so I can guide
right.
it and
Yeah.
have fun. I want to be part of it. Okay, Frank. Now, oh, this is
Hello,
fun.
hello.
We got people first saying hi to everybody, and that's great. Hello, Doug. Oh my gosh, look at this, Sharon Skinner. That's your
Hello,
cousin.
Sharon.
So we got to ask Sharon. Sharon has gone live consecutively for over 500 days with her business, and so Sharon, please give us let us know what you've done there, and come back and let us know how many days you are now. That's a miracle. And then look, Queso Blanco, Terrell. Hey, you're the best too, and your wife cooks the best Mexican food on earth.
Oh,
You
come
know
on.
that.
Now you're making me hungry.
She does. She does. So, Eli, while we're talking here about everything, and I want to encourage anyone, if you have a comment, question, something about the topic here, please chime in, and I want to hear what you have to think. If you have a question for Eli, but I have a rule: is like you don't lead up to the edge of the cliff and then leave people hanging. Eli, we've kind of gone through there. You got things going. You became your own boss, and you're having some revelations there. And it's like, oh my gosh, business is blowing up. It's going wonderfully. People love you. They're
Right.
buying real estate. You're selling real estate. You're bringing in brokers. Now what? Then all of a sudden, in the background, it's getting hard to get out of bed.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, that was that's a terrible situation. Yep.
So
So
let's
we
go
had to
ahead.
come up with some reasons, some things
Mhm.
that there was some medical stuff that happens, right? And I had to get help, but on top of everything else, I had some good people in life. I had some good mentors in life. And I will talk about some. I mean, one of the major players in me getting into real estate, first of all, but then getting out of bed once I had crashed
Mhm.
was figuring out who I was. I had figured out who I was sitting in my chair in prayer and trying to figure out how God created me and what I was supposed to do. And that was Eli. This realization, whether it was God putting it in my head or just kind of a bunch of reasoning that had occurred over time with smart guys in my life, it was that I was created to walk with a specific person in a specific season for a specific reason. I tell people I make you feel like a king or queen for a day. And so they jumped it. So anyway, real estate was kind of a way of doing that, right? I walk with
Mhm.
somebody for a month or two while we're doing something very dramatic in their life and they feel wonderful. But I still broke and I had to figure out who I was again. And that meant not focusing on my weaknesses and trying to get better at, paperwork. I needed to stick to my strength of people work. And I needed to maybe not just be driving around in my car all day trying to show houses, even though that's partly what I did for people, but I needed to be doing the things that I was really good at, which was marketing and helping people buy into the big concept, sell the process, like you even talk about.
Mhm.
I needed to stick to those things. Like forget your weaknesses. You can give those away, but stick to my strengths is what I really had to do. So I had to offload a lot of the weight that we were carrying. I mean, we'll probably do 150 transactions this year. That's a ton of work for one guy and an assistant. And so I had to or one guy, I guess. So I had to bring in an assistant to give stuff to. Yeah, on and on. I had to bring in buyer's agents and showing agents and offload some of those things that I wasn't necessarily good at.
Mhm.
And that was draining me for sure.
So I get that. Know who you are, know what you're good at. As I hear that.
Yeah.
And then beyond that, as things started moving, there was something else important to you. And tell us about that.
Yeah, people are a big piece of my life for sure, and I like to be the voice of strength and reason in a lot of people's lives. But I needed someone and I had someone that was a truth teller, right? In the breakdown moment when my brain's lying to me like crazy, you're going to go broke, you're going to lose your house, you're going to lose your family, you're not going to pay the bills. All these things that my brain was saying, and I knew they were false. But at the same time, when you're in the midst of anxiety, depression, stuff that's crushing you, that you can't get out of it. It doesn't make any sense. You can even see yourself almost from above. But I had a guy that walked into my life years ago, and I remember the moment he came into my house because he realized something was really, really wrong before I did. But he actually stood in front of me, didn't baby me, didn't be gentle and soft and all cutesy and treating me like a kid.
Yeah.
He looked at me and said, Eli, you're not going to lose your house. You're not going to lose your wife. He just told me the truth. And even though my brain was lying to me, I could trust him more than I could trust myself. And I knew it. I mean, I would trust my kids with this guy. I'd trust my wife. I'd trust me. Make the decision for me. I know he loves me. I know he's got the best for me. And I had that truth teller. And that is huge for somebody that's struggling in this type of situation, whether it's anxiety, depression, or just in general. Like, you need somebody that's going to hit you and tell you what needs to be happening, what is true, rather than what you currently feel in the moment, because it's a lie in many cases.
Yes. And it sounds to me like what you're saying is you've gotten what you prayed for in a good way. Awesome things are happening around you.
Yeah.
And from the outside, the perspective of someone like, I'm your dad, it's like, hey, I know when things are going well is when your son invites you out to dinner and he pays.
Yeah.
I was like, that's how I know when it's good. He said, we go to lunch. Hey, Dad, we go to lunch. We go to lunch. And you say, that's for me. It's like, okay, thank you. I'll fight over any day with you and let you win. Thank you, Jeffrey Gittimer. I learned that one from him too. But Eli, it was great fun. And I got to tell you this, it was super fun when those days were coming and all of a sudden, things are going well. He's buying lunch and we're getting together and good things are happening.
Yep.
So you were in that thing. And I just want to note here, people are chiming in here. Look at this. Oh,
wow.
There we go. 500. Actually, she's corrected at 555. Oops, today number. Will be 555 consecutive lives. Congratulations, Sharon. That's cousin Sharon. And
that's a fun number to take a picture of on your odometer. Your odometer rolls over to a number that's cool like that. That's a picture moment. Yeah.
That is. Take a picture. Take a screenshot. Oh, hi, Kevin. Thank you for coming. Blessings to you as well. I'm so glad that you've come to the show. Encourage anyone right now. You've got Eli Skinner that's overcome quite a few things that a lot of people have gone through in their own lives. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to break into this before we go to the third takeaway for the show. And just a reminder to everyone, we're out of here at 11:05. So we've got a little bit more time, just about 10 more minutes. And I always laugh. The only guy that ever got 2 extra minutes out of me was Jeffrey Gittimer, the king of sales. But one of the other things, you use a word, and I don't think I've even got it in a banner here, but I want to ask you about it. And the phrase is, I'll get it right, breaking your brain at a gut level. What does that mean?
Yep. So, in my experience, and everybody's experience is different, people that have gone through what I went through in this anxiety, depression, just catastrophic moment is the only way to describe it. It was like a bone being broken, right? It's just like in a moment, nearly a moment, we'll call it a day or two, right? It just breaks. I broke my brain. And at a gut level, meaning it affects every part of you. Like your guts literally can be physically in turmoil. And I can't get out of bed, writhing in pain. I remember sitting in a chair for like 6 or 7 hours one day, and the only thing that could wake me up out of my trance was my phone going off. But I couldn't even carry on a conversation because I was so broken. My brain had been broken, and so there is this long-term depression stuff. And I don't even claim to understand how this all works. But I had a broken moment. I had a brain break moment, and that's what that's about. And those can come when it happened. I mean, it just happened amid not managing time, not taking care of myself, and things then going a little bit awry and gone. It was just over, and I went from being able to carry on a conversation and do this stuff and smile to I was trance. I couldn't even communicate with my wife. Yep.
And I remember those days, and we would talk on the phone.
Yeah.
And uh, the cool thing is that, you know, when we talk about Easter, Friday, Good Friday, that doesn't seem that good, Saturday, and then Sunday. And I went to a revival years ago, and we talked about Sundays are coming. And so everyone just hang on. We're getting to the rest of the story here.
Yeah.
We're looking at a guy right now who has the rest of the story. Hey,
Hey.
Ron, good to see you. Hey, partner. Ron and I are working on the tie-dye Oxfords right now. LA.
Yeah, I'm empty on that. I got my little, flowers, but that's all I got.
It looks good. Anyway, so that breaking your brain at a gut level also means that you've got something special coming with a go live of your own coming up.
Oh yeah.
The show called Pixelated Perspective.
Yeah.
Just tell just a little bit about what that's going to be, because that might be interesting to people as well.
Yeah, you'll be able to find it. It's I'm sitting in the studio of it. It's still kind of getting wrapped up, but a pixelated perspective is legitimately just it's more for my enjoyment than anything else, and I hope it can make it's an entertainment situation. I like to talk. I enjoy giving my opinions, processing out loud, looking at all facets of a diamond, and then going, I don't really know. Like, just here's all the thoughts that are out there in my brain, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I enjoy having those conversations. So we're gonna have that with a camera and put it out for the world to see and comment and appreciate, and knowing that the reality is we all come from such a pixelated perspective, right? Like a pixel's a square. If you blow up a picture on Photoshop on your computer, right? You blow that picture wide open, you're still gonna see that even a gray gradient that slides from black to white, the gray in the middle is still a very delineated square that is a totally different color than the one next to it in many cases. And when we all zoom in, because of our perspective, we just zoom in so close to life that the view of life is pixelated. We only see the pixels, click, click, click. We don't get to always back out and see the beautiful picture that all those pixels create. And that's all perspectives when we put them together, when we see the world in a bigger, broader, more removed and looking at the big picture sort of way. So that's what a pixelated perspective is about. I admit that I've got one, and I admit that you all have one too, but we're just going to talk about it and enjoy the fact that we're all different.
It sounds like that will be a great show. The people are going to love it. Hello there. Deirdre, good morning to you. Good to see you. I'm so glad you're here. And she's a good friend, business owner of a big company. I'm so glad that you came in and said hi here. Thank you for showing up. Ron, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. You're welcome. Eli, there's two things I want to do. We've got just about 5 minutes. Okay. And one is I want to talk about the spiritual perspective, which is some people that are Christians have a spiritual perspective. When we start talking about things like what you described of having gone through, they almost think, well, you can't be a Christian and have those problems.
Okay.
Well, how do you reconcile that?
Oh man.
In 2 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, like the reality is if your perspective of God is that He doesn't allow suffering, then I think we've got it wrong. I mean, every kid that's ever fallen off his bike's gotten scraped. I mean, outside of a miracle, which those occur, and I'm down with that. So I don't view this as anything other than a reality of life, and that I got hurt, and a lot of that was I did it to myself. Like this was cause and effect. It wasn't God being mean, and it was just God watching life happen. I mean, when is He supposed to step in and stop all these things? Like that would be crazy in my opinion. So we break bones, we break brains. It's all the same. And with a hope in Jesus, I think you've got a better opportunity of snapping out of it and seeing beyond your actual circumstance, even in the midst of that craziness. So that was my hope in the midst of it. That's why I could see a bigger truth and a further perspective, even though I couldn't get out of bed.
Yep, I get it. And I have to say, as a dad, the Bible verse that says, bring up a child in the way he should go, and when he is old, he shall not depart from it. It's true. And I'm thankful for it. And I got two sons that are testimony to that as well. And
Yep.
I'm so proud of you, Eli. I really am.
Thanks. Yeah.
So now we're going to get down to what to do. What is one of the practical things you do when you've gone through some of this and you discovered things? And we had to get to know yourself and your limits and let people work with you. Number two was have someone that can tell the truth to you.
Yep. Truth teller.
And
Yep.
then number three was
The worst one. The worst. Wake up early. I hate it. I am a narcoleptic, diagnosed. I mean, I am a sleeper, and my sleep doesn't even result in rest. It is terrible. I fight REM all the time. My body has no ability to regulate when I'm sleeping and when I'm not. If I don't have these lights on, my body goes, oh, it's sleep time in the middle of the day. And I, not like quite that dramatic, but pretty darn close. So waking up early is not my thing. No chance on God's green earth. But what I did find out that a lot of this anxiety that's spinning in your brain, I call it a ball of razor blades. I mean, it's just a spinning out of control in your mind. Is worry, is fear, is things left undone. It's things to do that you're not going to get to. It's all of that. And so much of that can be alleviated by waking up early in the morning, getting up long before the rest of the world can try to wreck your world, right? I mean, like, get up early. You're at work 4 hours, and we were all working from home now, or a lot of us are. I certainly have been for 3 years, but I get out of my bed, throw my slippers on, turn on the coffee pot, in my robe, go start to work. At 4 hours later, my kids are going to school, and I'm taking a shower. I've literally worked half a day before the day's even started. And I mean, a lot of you do that. I know it's not necessarily that big of a deal to some of you. It was huge for me, and I think it would be huge for somebody else. That's, again, they woke up and realized they're a terrible boss. Their old boss made them come to work at 8 or 7:30 or whatever the time is. If you're your own boss, how do you tell yourself when to go to work? You just got to learn to do it.
That's right.
So that's the big one. That was huge. It still is huge. I don't always get up at 5, but today it was 5:30, right? Like, it just, like, get out of bed and get to work.
I like it. And that one thing about where you say, I got to go back to this, is harnessing the extra time before the rest of the world tries to wreck yours. It's
Absolutely.
Like, you get it. So there is bound to be people here that are going, I want to get to know Eli Skinner.
Yep.
And so there's ways to catch you. Eli, how available are you?
I am super available. I don't check the messages on these things a ton. You're going to get to learn about me and see my family and see life and enjoy it with me a little bit through these links. But on there, you'll be able to find out my phone number, my email, contact me anytime through those. But I'm pretty darn available. I try to make sure that I am, because that's just part of who I am, and I want to be that for people. So I'd love to communicate, talk about whatever. I mean, when it comes to real estate, we do Airbnb arbitrage, we do Airbnb stuff, we do all kinds of investing, helping other people win. We also just mostly buy and sell houses for people that own their house and want to buy a different one. So we do it all, and we talk about a lot of life. I tell people all the time that I make a whole lot of friends, and occasionally we buy and sell houses.
Absolutely. Oh, yep. Rise and shine. Oh, here's somebody. There's Lorena Zakpa-Dwoki. Yes, sir. You're liking it. So happy you came by. Where are you from, Lorena? Are you from, I've got I have a big following in Liberia, Africa. It's like, I don't know if Lorena's from there or not, but if you are, here's to Liberia. And if you're not, let me know where you're from. So glad you came by. We're wrapping it up. Eli, I really appreciate you coming. I'm really proud.
You're welcome. Yeah. Glad to be on. Thank you.
Man, this is a big deal for me, everybody. And Eli is my son. I think he's wonderful. And I would encourage you, by the way, a little secret, if you want to get to his website, it's like eliskinner.com. So that'll get you somewhere too, won't it?
Yep.
And with that in mind, I want to thank everybody for coming to Buyers and Sellers, PDT Associates. Eli, Dad's going to play the piano.
All right.
And we're going to play it out. Thank you very much for coming, and have a fantastic
day. You got it. See you, everybody.
Bye now. Thank you. Every Friday, 10:35, Buyers and Sellers. I'm Jay Skinner. Thanks for coming.